My family treats me like a doorman now. They are planning a cruise without me and assuming I'd stay behind to babysit their kids. They expected me to watch the kids while they had a good time, even though I'm 25. Hello, Reddit. Usually, I just read posts and marvel at how families can be so cruel to one another. As it happens, I just received a story from my own family that is worth sharing. I need some perspective, since for the past week, this has been weighing heavily on my chest. Let me introduce myself. I'm a 25-year-old single software developer for a big tech company in Seattle. It seems like I've been made the family doormat. I got what most people would call a dream job 3 years ago after graduating from college. I've been advancing my career consistently. My work is rewarding and difficult, and my team respects me. However, in my family, I'm simply the one who can be counted on, the person others turn to when they need assistance, particularly with child care. Please understand, I adore my nieces and nephews. I've always been available for last-minute babysitting crises or anytime someone needs a helping hand. Perhaps I erred by being overly approachable and eager to assist. After 40 years of teaching, my 65-year-old Aunt Jean is retiring. She is essentially the matriarch of our family, keeping everyone in touch. She tracks all the birthdays, plans every holiday meal, and even sends care packages to the younger cousins when they attend college. She is what keeps us all together. She was the one who gave me care packages. She even assisted me in getting ready for my very first job interview. Her retirement is obviously a huge event, and I was thrilled to join in the celebration. Everything began last week. I had just completed a particularly difficult project at work that involved coordinating a crucial system update and staying late to fulfill deadlines. Despite my fatigue, I continued to have dinner with my family once a week. Since I moved into my own apartment, these dinners have become a ritual, and even when I'm really busy with work, I hardly ever miss one. I brought Mom's favorite bottle of wine when I got to my folks' place. It was an ordinary evening. My sister, Rachel, 32, was looking through her phone. My dad was half watching a sporting event on television, and my mom, 55, was worrying about what to make for dinner. My 2-year-old niece was on the floor, playing with blocks, and would sometimes call out to everyone who passed. We were discussing a variety of topics, including Rachel's toddler's most recent developmental milestone, my most recent professional endeavor, and the customary family rumors. I then asked jokingly if anyone had any suggestions for Aunt Jean's retirement present. I had been considering getting her a unique gift, perhaps organizing a collective gift with the family. At that moment, Rachel said, "Oh, we are giving her a group gift on the cruise," without even raising her head from her phone. I stopped in the middle of my sentence. What kind of cruise? At first, I believed I had misheard her. I would be aware of any scheduled family vacation, wouldn't I? I mean, I attend every birthday party, holiday celebration, and family get-together. I chuckled uneasily and inquired about the topic. She raised her head, obviously perplexed that I was confused. "We've been organizing the cruise for months, you know," as if I were somehow to blame for not knowing about something no one had thought to tell me. Rachel added, "All the adults in the family are going." I asked my mother for an explanation. When she realizes she's done something wrong but doesn't want to acknowledge it, she gives me this uneasy smile. She clarified, "It's a cruise to celebrate your aunt's retirement, with a few days spent in Hawaii." I had the impression that I was in a strange prank show. At the time, I was in the dark about this elaborate excursion while everyone else was aware of it. Suddenly, the space felt too warm and cramped. My heart was pounding as I struggled to comprehend what was going on. My mother gave me a tense little laugh when I inquired why I hadn't been informed. Then she said, "Well, we thought you'd be more help staying behind, remaining behind. What can you help with?" I asked, attempting to speak steadily. "What kind of help?" Before she could respond, My cousin Madison, 30, entered the room with her twins. "The children, it just made sense for you to stay and watch them since you get along so well with them. Let me explain. Madison and Rachel each have 4 children under the age of 4. Madison's twins, who are just over a year old, and Rachel's 3-year-old and 2-year-old. They had somehow determined that I would be more than happy to stay behind and monitor them all, without even consulting me. I forgot about my dinner and just stared at them in shock. So you organized this entire trip?" Rachel finally put her phone down and shrugged. "Yes, indeed, you don't have children or anything that might bind you, and you're always so dependable. It simply made sense." Made sense to whom? I looked at my mother as I inquired, hoping for an explanation that wouldn't make me seem like a total afterthought. "We didn't mean to leave you out, honey," she added, smiling weakly at me. "We simply assumed you would understand. You've always been the one in charge." The word responsible was like a kick to the face. I've heard that a lot throughout my life, including when I stayed home to assist with family gatherings rather than going out with friends, when I rearranged my college schedule to accommodate Rachel's firstborn, and when I used my vacation time to support Madison following her twin pregnancy. When someone needs assistance, I've always been the one to step up. Yes, I've assisted with school pickups, kept the kids during crises, and even filled in for Rachel when she had work-related issues. Rachel had a late meeting last month. After the twins began to crawl, I spent 3 weekends the previous month assisting Madison with organizing her home. However, this was really different. They made decisions for me, as if my time, my desires, and my life didn't matter. They didn't even have the grace to ask. My mother attempted to patch things up by promising to bring me a memento, as if that would somehow make up for my exclusion. "We'll bring you a lovely souvenir from Hawaii," she promised, as though it would make up for being treated like the family's unpaid babysitter. Meanwhile, Rachel pretended that I was exaggerating. "You wouldn't really like the cruise anyhow. I take it you don't like big crowds. Do you recall how uneasy you felt at Cousin Katie's wedding?" Pardon me as I spoke, but I could feel my annoyance building. They were now determining what I would and wouldn't like. I was recuperating from the flu when that wedding took place 5 years ago. However, it seems that one incident had turned into a justification for them to keep me out of family gatherings. I sat there attempting to take it all in. This was intentional, not merely an oversight. They all knew that I don't use Facebook, so I wasn't a part of the private Facebook group where they had been organizing this for months. They could have called, texted, or even casually brought it up at any of the numerous family get-togethers we've had, but they chose not to. My mother attempted to sidestep my comments about how painful it was to be left out. "We had no intention of upsetting you. It was simply useful, sensible for them." Soon after, I departed because I was too upset to continue the conversation. It was a blur on the way home. Recollections of all the times I had sacrificed everything for them, put their needs ahead of my own, and dropped everything to aid them kept coming back to me, making it difficult for me to concentrate on the road. However, as the days went by, the rage evolved into something more profound. It was more than just the cruise. It had to do with how my family perceives me. I don't have any wants, goals, or desires of my own. Simply said, I'm the reliable one, the helper, and the person they can rely on to make sacrifices when it suits them. I've mentally rehearsed the exchange numerous times. I recalled spending the entire night with Rachel during the colic episode of her first child, how I assisted Madison in her quest for strollers and car seats suitable for twins, and how I've never missed a child's birthday celebration or school function. As I gave it more attention, I came to the conclusion that this wasn't an isolated incident. They have always treated me in this manner. I didn't even notice until now. I will not serve as their doormat any longer. I've been harshly contemplating whether I should remain in contact with them at all. The fact that they can simply assume I would stay behind to babysit while they enjoy themselves is upsetting. The possibility of being excluded, I was expected to care for their children while they partied. It might sound selfish, but I want to be included and considered. So, AITA, am I the asshole for refusing to be the family's unpaid sitter while everyone else goes on vacation? Update. Well, Reddit, it's been a few weeks. I've had a lot of time to think about everything and process my feelings, and, to be honest, it's been one of the most difficult experiences of my life. But, as you might have guessed, I did make a decision. Here's what happened. After that conversation at my parents' house, I left feeling like I was suffocating. I had tried to wrap my head around what had just happened, but nothing made sense. My family, the people I had always supported and put first, didn't even see me as a person with my own life. To them, I was a utility, someone to lean on when it was convenient. The sting of that realization cut deeper than I could have imagined. I spent the rest of that evening in a daze. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I tried to distract myself by playing some video games, something that usually helps clear my mind, but I just couldn't focus. My phone was blowing up with texts from my sister Rachel, my mom, and even my cousin Madison, all trying to apologize or explain themselves. But the damage had already been done. Rachel sent me a long message that said, "I'm sorry you felt left out. We didn't mean it like that. The cruise is about Aunt Jean's retirement, and we just thought you'd be more comfortable at home. We didn't think you'd want to go. I should have talked to you, though. I'm sorry." I didn't respond right away. In fact, I didn't respond at all for a couple of days. I just needed space. For the first time in years, I felt like I was allowed to just breathe and not be expected to fix everyone else's problems. The real turning point came a few days later when my mom called me. It was an unexpected call, and I knew she wasn't going to take no for an answer. She's always been the one to make me feel guilty when I've tried to set boundaries, but this time I wasn't having it. "Sweetheart, I know you're upset," she began. "But you have to understand, we didn't mean to hurt you. We just thought you'd be the one to stay behind like you always do." I could hear the guilt in her voice. Part of me wanted to soften, to go back to the role I've always played, the peacemaker, the person who smooths things over. But I knew that if I did that, I would just be putting myself last again. So I took a deep breath. "Mom, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not just going to drop everything and stay behind while everyone else does what they want. I've been there for everyone, and I've been made to feel like I don't matter this time. I'm putting myself first." There was a long silence on the other end of the line. I could hear her breathing, and I could tell she was processing what I had said. Finally, she spoke. "I understand, honey, I really do. I'm sorry we put you in that position." It was a rare moment of genuine acknowledgement from her, and I could feel weight lifting off my shoulders. But there was more to say. "You always say we're a family, that we should stick together," I continued. "But being family shouldn't mean I'm only valued when I'm useful to everyone else. I matter too, and I don't want to just be the person who takes care of the kids while everyone else lives their life." She paused again, this time for longer. "I hear you, sweetheart. I'm sorry." In the days that followed, I heard less from Rachel and Madison, and more from other family members who didn't know about the cruise situation. I started to get messages from extended family asking why I wasn't going. When I told them, some expressed surprise, others didn't really get it, and a few even defended the idea of me staying behind to watch the kids. I was getting frustrated. One of my cousins, who I'm pretty close with, sent me a message saying, "I just don't get it. Why wouldn't you want to help? It's just for a few days." That's when I really snapped. I typed out a message that, to be honest, I'm still a little ashamed of, but I was so angry I couldn't help myself. I wrote, "Help. Is that what you think this is? I've been helping my whole life." I didn't expect much of a response from my cousin, and she didn't disappoint. The message that came back was cold, but at least it was honest. "Fine, do whatever you want, but don't expect to be included in anything from now on." That hit harder than I thought it would, but at the same time I felt a strange sense of relief. I wasn't fighting to fit into a mold that didn't fit me anymore. They were the ones who had abandoned me, not the other way around. I spent the next few days focusing on myself. I've been working long hours lately, and the emotional toll this whole family situation has taken on me has been exhausting. But I've also realized something important. This has been a wake-up call for me. I'm allowed to have boundaries. I'm allowed to say no. And I'm allowed to choose myself. As for the cruise, I've heard bits and pieces from other relatives. Apparently, it was a disaster. Rachel had to cut the trip short because of childcare issues. Madison was upset because she had to find last-minute arrangements for the kids. Some of them even sent me angry messages about how I had ruined everything for them. But honestly, I don't feel bad anymore. If anything, their inability to plan without me has only reinforced my decision. The hardest part of all of this has been realizing how little my family really sees me. They don't see me as a person with my own wants, needs, and aspirations. They see me as a tool to help them with their lives when they need it, and nothing more. But I've started to see myself differently. I'm not just the person who drops everything to clean up their messes anymore. I have my own life, and I'm not going to let them take that from me anymore. I'm still figuring out what to do about the future. Do I continue to have a relationship with them? Do I cut them off entirely? I'm not sure yet, but I know that things can't go back to the way they were. I've seen the truth now, and I can't unsee it. My life is my own, and I won't apologize for protecting it anymore. So Reddit, thank you for all your support. I'm still processing everything, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm on the path to figuring out who I really am apart from my family's expectations. I'll update again soon, but for now, I just want to take a deep breath and enjoy some time for me. Maybe next time, I'll even take a trip of my own.